Welcome, everyone. This is Kap Rate Living's first podcast, and I have a special guest here who is my life partner, and she just joined Kap Rate Living. And I want to take a moment to introduce Helen Mathews. For many years, she was a stay-at-home mom, and after she raised our girls, she decided to get into real estate. It's an honor to have you, Helen Mathews.
Thank you.
I want to take a moment today so Helen could walk you through her journey on being a stay-at-home mom and how she transferred into real estate and what she can do for you if you're looking to relocate to Florida. Helen, for people who may not know you yet, who is Helen Mathews beyond real estate?
So beyond real estate, I am a mom of two girls.
Okay.
So I have a 19-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old daughter. And besides being a mom, I'm into fitness, I'm into eating healthy, I'm into reading, kind of what I do with my pastime when I'm not working real estate.
Awesome. Could you touch a little bit on your working out?
So my working out, I've been working out for, I'm going to say 20 years maybe. Everything from the gym, Pilates, yoga, hit workouts. I think the past few years I've done a lot of hit workouts. Yeah, pretty much just love trying new things fitness wise.
Awesome. Do you feel that fitness correlates to real estate for you?
It does because I feel like with working out, you have to be disciplined, right? So your health, I feel like starting my day working out, taking that time to be healthy gets you ready mentally, I feel, for the rest of the day.
Gotcha. Over the years, what would you say has shaped you?
So many different things. I feel like I lived a big part of my life being a stay-at-home mom, raising kids. My biggest concern was them. Homeschooled for years, just kind of getting them ready for the world, I feel like, especially with the youngest one. Um, that kind of shaped me. Just it's more of the importance to me of raising kids and raising good human beings, happy kids. Kind of feel like that's what shaped me.
I think that it's been a fun journey doing that with Helen Mathews. We have, I have a total of three daughters and two with Helen, and we have our 19-year-old in the next office. And it's awesome to just see them develop into really good human beings. Our oldest is doing really well. She's an accountant, or she works for an accounting firm. She got her degree in finance, and she's been on her own for the last 5 years. So it's good. It's not an easy journey
No.
raising these kids. So I agree with you. What do people usually assume about you that is completely wrong?
That I'm a serious person, like that I'm not friendly. I think since I'm very observant, I'm more on the quiet side. I listen, I don't overspeak, and I give people the impression that I'm very serious. But then when you get to know me, I'm silly and friendly.
Gotcha. Which makes sense. Would you say that it just takes you a bit longer to get comfortable in a room?
Yes. Takes me a little time. I like to observe, make sure that's the environment I want to be in before I open myself up to conversation, friendship, things like that.
And when you correlate that with clients, what do you see? Does it help you determine if a
Yes.
client is good or not?
Well, it helps me determine if the client, if we're a good fit for each other, because not everybody you meet, you're a good fit for. So I think anybody that I choose to work with is somebody who one I'm genuinely going to care about and want to get to know them, kind of like a friend, because I feel like you're helping them in a process that is one of their biggest decisions. And you have to basically like them. You have to like each other. So that's important.
So I like that you said that. One of the things that we're doing with Helen is we are going to market Helen in Illinois as a relocation expert. And the reason that we're doing this is when we both moved to Florida, we realized how difficult it is to work with a builder. in terms of them handing over a completed product. In this case, it would be your home. So we decided to market Helen in Illinois, in the state of Illinois, as a relocation expert, and we're gonna dive a little deep into exactly what Helen would be doing for buyers that are looking to relocate to Florida. Helen, so I know that you like doing research. I see
Mhm.
you doing daily research on the market. Could you go into why you like doing that?
I like to do that to know, 1, what's going on. Um, I think about maybe 2007, 2008, when all the foreclosures, everything happened. I didn't really understand what was going on because I was at home, right? But I was still fascinated by it even back then. And then now that I'm in real estate, I've been in it for 2 years. I like to know what's going on because I'm curious to see foreclosures, short sales, okay, homes on the market, how fast did it, did it go pending? All of those things. So I like to see exactly what's going on to kind of have an understanding of pricing, just what's happening in the market.
Okay, so you would say that you're data driven.
Yes.
Okay. And what trends are you noticing? If you can take me back 2 years and tell our audience what you've seen 2 years ago and what you're seeing today.
So 2 years ago, specifically Wesley Chapel area, I'm going to say, homes were going pending in less than 30 days. Okay. Last year, I noticed homes were taking about 30 to it's like 60 days they were going pending. Now it's 120 days and more that I'm noticing it's taking homes to go pending. What I'm also noticing is that agents are getting smarter, and I'm going to say this is in the last 60 days that I've noticed. They're doing price drops. So a buyer, or not a buyer, a seller might say, I want this amount for my home. They'll put it on the market within a week or two. If nothing, if there's no offers, they're dropping $20,000, $30,000. I've even seen 50,000. So I feel like agents are realizing what was the prices for 2, 3 years ago are not happening anymore. So you really have to pay attention to what's going on. So that's one of the things I do notice is that agents are obviously talking to their sellers they're aware that if they want to sell, they got to be ready for the price drops. So that's one of the things that I'm seeing. Another thing I'm seeing is short sales. So that's pretty new. I've kind of been waiting to see that. It was very little a year ago, and now it's a lot of short sales coming about.
Okay. So you're noticing that market times have increased.
Mhm.
So it went from selling same day overpriced to 30 days to 60 days, 90 days, 120 days.
Mhm.
And now we're at 120 days with huge price drops.
Yes.
So would you say that the market is becoming a buyer's market? Are we entering where it's becoming a buyer's
We're
market?
getting close to it.
Okay. Yeah. So we live in a high sought after community called Estancia. And when we bought, I give you an example. Our home was 3,000 square feet, and we paid 567. That home today with a pool is going for 1,070,000. 2 years ago, it went for 1,150,000. It probably would have went for 1,250,000 if any of them were on the market. So we witnessed homes selling same day
Mhm.
for over 100 grand in our community. And now we're witnessing homes on the market for at least 120 days minimum with huge price drops. And we're in a community that's a master planned, not just community, but our entire neighborhood is a master planned. It's a master planned neighborhood.
Mhm.
We had the Porter family that owned most of the acreages here in Wesley Chapel, and they master planned this entire community, which is really beautiful. They did all the infrastructure, all the streets were done first, which is key, and that allowed for the transition to be smooth. In our community, in a really high sought after community, we're starting to see these huge changes,
Mhm.
and we have found a couple short sales within our community, right?
Yes.
And so now we're starting to see short sales within our community, and I think it's going to get worse, if you ask me. But I think better for the buyers. I think it's time. I think we're overinflated, and we definitely might enter into hyperinflation, which I hope we really don't. But we're noticing that our economy can't sustain. Our wages are not keeping up with inflation, so it's not sustainable. So I want to talk about how Helen could help you, the individual that's living in Illinois or New York and wants to relocate here to the state of Florida. And specifically, in most people that relocate buy new construction homes. And we've noticed here in Florida with our builders that they're in a rush and they don't pay attention to detail. So I'm going to pass the floor to Helen so she could explain to you how she will help you protect your investment while you're in the Midwest. And she would take you to a smooth closing and make it easy and happy for you guys to move down. So, Helen, let's elaborate on these different communities and how you can help.
Okay, so there's two different ways to go about new construction.
Okay.
The first one I would talk about are spec homes. That's kind of what we bought. We bought a spec home. We didn't pick the land, we didn't pick the finishes. It was a home that was supposedly ready, right?
Okay.
So with a spec home, normally those you get a ton of incentives.
Okay.
So those are ones that have been sitting. They have, they could give you $50,000 off, or you could use it towards just different things. They also offer lower interest rates. So with the spec home, with plenty of builders in the area, there is a ton of incentives because they need to get rid of these homes.
So the incentive is huge price drops
Mhm,
and lower interest rates.
mhm.
And for people that don't understand how you can get a lower interest rate through a builder, what builders do is they buy a bulk of money. So in your mind, picture that they bought $100 million at a 4% rate or 4.5% rate, right? And they bought that money and they're lending that money out to their buyers at a 5% rate. And the reason that they're doing this is to be competitive.
Mhm.
Okay. And it's allowing them, it's really working because it's allowing them to sell these properties. They're not making a lot of money, guys. Believe it or not, they're not making a lot of money, but it is allowing them to move their inventory. So incentives, when you mention incentives, it's lower rates and lower
On
prices.
lower rates, there's an incentive could be $30,000 for this home. You could use it closing costs, certain upgrades in the home, washer and dryer, just different things that builders are able to offer versus buying a resale.
Okay. So if I was in Illinois
Mhm,
and I contacted you and I was looking to relocate to Florida,
mhm.
and let's say I was looking to relocate here in Tampa, and what would you do for me as a buyer here in Tampa? Like, how would you be able to help me?
One, you more than likely wouldn't be familiar with the area, so kind of see what are your needs are. Do you need schools? Do you need to be close to the highway? Like, what's important to you? Because it's everybody's needs are different. That's step number one,
Okay.
to see, okay, where do you need to be in case you don't have an idea, like giving you that information that I've learned the 6 years that I've lived here. That's one of the first steps. Second step is, let's say you decide on a spec home, because we're talking about. You decide I could guide you. One, you're going to need an inspector because in our situation, they told us the home was ready. We got down here, the home was not ready. There was a bunch of things wrong with the home. That's where your realtor and inspector come in to make sure what's wrong with the home, right? Because you wouldn't know that you're thinking, oh, the home's ready, where do I sign? I'm ready to move. And then you get down here and there's a bunch of stuff wrong with the home, especially with the spec home. So you do need to hire an inspector to go through everything. So I would guide you through that because you're back home wherever you're living. I'll be working with the inspector, making sure all those things are done.
Okay. And to touch and elaborate on that point, we moved to Florida in December and we were told that our home was complete. when I got down here and I did our inspection on our home, we had a checklist with over 180 different items, and they had no motivation at all to complete these items for us because they knew that we needed to close the property. We just moved down. Luckily, my father lived here in Wesley Chapel, and we were able to move in with him. And once they noticed that we were not going to close until they finish every item on that checklist, they then took us serious. But it took 5 weeks for them to take us serious. They would walk us through our home. They would ask us to put blue tape on areas that needed repair, and then we would come back when they told us that the work was complete, and we noticed that they just pulled the blue tape off and they didn't do the work. So my background is in construction. I'm a developer back in Illinois, and so I know good work and bad work. And I would say that the work was not bad, but it wasn't complete, and they wouldn't complete it. And so I would say to you that it's very important to have someone here, eyes on the ground, right? To watch your investment. You don't want to. You don't want to buy your flight tickets and fly down, and then be put in a position to close a home that is not complete, and now you have to deal with contractors in your home while you're setting your home up. So I think that it's very important to have eyes on the ground. So Helen, you touched on spec homes, and spec homes, I believe, are a little easier for people that are looking to relocate because the home is done
It's quicker,
and it's quicker.
the timeline.
Right. So let's talk about someone that has a little bit of time and wants to pick out their specific lot and wants to get their house built from scratch. Could you touch on how you can help them with those homes?
So with those people who are willing to relocate, maybe they have, 6 to 9 months time frame. So in that instance, they would fly down. We would find what community they want to be in. They could pick their specific plot of land, which I wish we would have thought, because you could kind of pick some really good land. So I would help with that, like getting them, okay, where do they want to be? Which lot do they want? Now they're gonna go back home.
Could we elaborate on like picking their lot?
Okay, so there's pond views, there's privacy. We have a pond view. I've noticed a lot of people like privacy. They want maybe a bigger yard. So it's kind of cool when you go out and they show you what lots are available and you get to pick which one you want. So maybe it's further away from the road.
So
There's
you could identify. Sorry to interrupt you. You could identify a good lot if they show you on a survey.
Yes.
You could identify a good lot for a client, which is good. That's good to know. Okay, awesome. So you could help them pick their lot out.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Continue.
So once you pick your lot and then, you go under contract for that lot, it's going to take, it's a whole building process. So I would be there. I could give you weekly updates on, or, either a phone call or a video. Hey, this is a process this week. I could get them weekly updates. I could be there for all the inspections. There's drywall inspection, there's electrical. There's so many different steps when you're building a home. When you have someone in town, a realtor, someone there, I could be there for the catch-ups if there's an error, So that's kind of like what's important, to have someone that you trust, you have a good relationship with, that could be there the process because you're not there.
I think it's important. That's value that you're bringing a potential buyer. I'll give you an example. Our neighbors across the street um, built a one level home with a small room above, and they came in for an inspection, and they realized that they poured the wrong foundation. It was a completely different floor plan that they were about to build for them. So it's important to have eyes on the ground. And I think that if Helen could provide that service where she can drive out once a week, take a quick video of the progress that's going on your particular property, and give you updates, that's something that will serve you well in the sense that you're always going to avoid, there's always going to be a punch list. So it's not going to avoid a punch list because you're always going to have a punch list, but it's going to be a smaller list. And I think that the key to what Helen just mentioned is just getting that smaller punch list. Okay, Helen. So you would do weekly videos. You give them updates on the property. What else would you do for your clients?
Just making sure that everything's running smoothly, whatever they might need to get them settled before they get here. So,
Okay, awesome. So, hey guys, one of the things that we experienced when we moved down the Wesley Chapel, or excuse me, Florida, is that we couldn't pick a neighborhood. We didn't have anyone that could help us with picking a neighborhood. Schools were key for us. We didn't have any help with schools, and there is a lot of different tools nowadays, ChatGPT and Google. But there's nothing better than having an agent that's familiar with the state of Florida. And I can say that Helen is pretty good with Tampa, Orlando, Sarasota. She has a good eye for really good neighborhoods. I would say that her specialty is for homes that are 500,000 plus. And I would say that she's a really good listener in terms of listening to your needs and putting you in a home that you're going to like. And Helen, I believe that, there's a lot of agents in our industry that they want to sell a home, but they don't really listen to their buyers' needs. Could you tell me a little bit about your process and what you do for your buyers to get them into the right home and into the right neighborhood?
well, I'll ask the questions, what are they looking for? Are they going to be working? Are they commuting either to Tampa? Normally people are commuting, or are they working from home? If there's children, how old are the children? Are they going to go to like a neighborhood school? Or are they going to go to private school? I feel like those are the key things is education and your commute to work.
Those are
And
very
ju
good
and
points.
just listening to them, they might want to live in a community that offers a ton of amenities, different sports, just different things. It just kind of depends what you're looking for, so you have to listen to the client to see what's important to them.
I think it's important. Most agents have a bad reputation. They look at us as car salesmen, and I would say that I was a buyer's agent from 2000 to 2003, and I was a successful buyer's agent. And I would say that one of the things that brought me success was that I was a good listener, and I was transparent. And what I mean by transparent, I would tell someone if their dreams were doable or not, if
That's
they're
important.
if they're realistic
Mhm.
or not. And so I will say that if you're looking to relocate to the state of Florida, I suggest that you look Helen Mathews up. Helen, where could they find you?
Helen Mathews, realtor on Instagram.
Awesome. Guys, thank you very much for your time. And I do want to close with saying that Helen is our first realtor with Kap Rate Living, which is our residential division. And we also have a commercial division that's called Kap Rate Group, excuse me. And the group is specifically for commercial agents. So, Helen, I want to ask, I know you're with EXP, and I know that your transfer had nothing to do with us being together. What is it that led you to leave EXP and come over to Kap Rate Living?
One of the main reason is your research on marketing.
Okay.
Um, you are following the times. I feel like, let's say other brokerages, there's so many tools. There's AI, there's so many different platforms, but you guys are kind of creating like one area, like it's all in one.
Okay.
So I feel like you guys offer, it's more organized. You have the tools for the correct marketing, and it's kind of cool to be with the company like from the beginning.
Awesome. So I'm going to elaborate on some of the cool features that Helen has mentioned. We have a marketing powerhouse CRM, and I hate using CRM because normally shuts people's minds off. But what we did is we noticed that social media is not being used for agents. And what do I mean by not being used? You find organic reels, but you don't find people really using social media the way they should be. For example, we are going to market Helen in the state of Illinois, and we are going to use AI avatars, and we're going to use Helen, and we are going to use. Our AI avatars are going to be speaking in Spanish. They're going to be speaking in English, and if we want them to speak in Polish or Chinese or any other language, it can do that. Uh, AI and tech is really moving fast. And I want to say that we are now offering more than the national brands. If you guys are interested in learning what we are doing today, I suggest that you go to Join Kap Rate Living, and you can look up all the different plans for residential agents that are interested in joining our company. One of the key things that I did in building Kap Rate Living and Group was that I was very specific in wanting to deal with only the experienced agent. So I'm going to touch on what I mean by the experienced agent. Most offices, if not all, are holding, for example, 100 agents. And we know that only 20 of those agents are doing the work. The other 80 are not. They're overhead. What I did was I protected the entry level of Kap Rate Living. The goal is when you mention the name Kap Rate Living, it automatically resonates with experienced agents. And that's my goal. My goal is not to have the most agents. My goal is to have the experienced agents. And me, as the CEO, I sit every day and I'm always looking into how I can make our company better with tech. And I use the word tech, but keep one thing in mind is that everything that I build it for a 3-year-old. I want to make sure that a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old could understand it. There's a ton of tech out there, but if you don't make it user friendly, it's not fun. So I recommend that you click the link below and you go on to joincaprategroup.com and you look into everything that we have to offer. And if you're looking to relocate to Florida, make sure you hit up Helen Mathews. Helen, thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you.
out. It was an honor having you. Um, I'm looking forward to doing more of these podcasts with you.
No, thank you. I'm excited. Thank you.
Bye.